Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Matthias Röder. I'm the CEO of the Eliette and Herbert von Karajan Institute in Salzburg. I'm really happy that I hope many of you are watching. We are trying out something new today, and that is a format in which we anticipate our Karajan Music Tech Conference, which is going to happen later on in March 22nd to 26th. With me today, I have my two colleagues, Julia Binek and Thomas Richter. And I'm delighted to introduce them here to the audience. Well, we're really switching through all of the different things that our video switcher can do. So let me see if I can get them on screen like this. This looks nice. Hello, Julia. Hello, Thomas.
Hi, hello.
Hello,
Thanks
Matthias.
for being here.
Julia, where are you right now?
I'm actually in Salzburg in the institute.
You're in the institute. I'm in my home office. And Thomas, where are you?
I'm actually in Hamburg, in a secret place.
Secret place in Hamburg. That sounds great.
The
Julia,
only cafe that's still working.
That's great. I hope you are obeying all of the COVID-19 rules.
Yeah, I am.
Very good. So we are introducing this new format. We call it Karajan Music Tech Backstage. And the whole idea of this format is to provide a platform for all of the Karajan Music Tech members of our network to discuss topics that we will then, look in detail at the Karajan Music Tech Conference later on this year. And both Julia and Thomas are my colleagues in the Institute who are helping together with a row of others to make this event happen. So I'm really excited that you are joining me here in this ad hoc, spontaneous stream that we're putting up today. Julia, you have worked for the Institute now for quite a while. You have produced a lot of videos for us, but you were also part of, I think, the first Karajan Music Tech Conference. Isn't that right?
I guess it was the second, 2019. I guess it was the second, right?
Yes. And,
but it was still the physical one.
Big difference to today, right?
Yeah.
And Thomas, you are working on the community development for the conference. Many of our viewers will know you from the Slack channels that you moderate, the Telegram channels. What are you focusing on these days, and what are you doing right now for the conference? Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, I'm focusing on the music tech part of the Karajan Institute. So I'm preparing interviews with the alumni. I try to involve them in discussions, things like that. And yeah, I try to spark the fire of new ideas.
Great. That's a very a good hint, because this conference is all about the community. It's all about the people who are visionaries in music tech, who are visionaries in bringing music to people via technology. And we really would like to invite you to be part of our Backstage series as well. So as we come closer to the conference, we would like to present what you are doing in music tech here in this series, and then later on also at the conference itself, because this year's topic is all about building communities for music online. And we're trying to do that with our community here. We actually had to beginning last year, but we would also like to understand what other initiatives are out there. What are people learning about building their communities online? How they connected to their offline, communities, and how the learning was in this, really trying time. I think we brought a video of one of our colleagues and members of our network, Kim Arazi, who, when we did the conference last year, This was immediately at the very beginning of the COVID crisis. And so we had to move the whole conference online in a matter of 2 weeks. And what we then said, like, okay, well, in the evening, every conference has a get together, right? Some kind of conference dinner and so on. But we couldn't really do that. Until we met Kim Arazi's idea, namely, you can host a virtual dinner. And she did that for the conference. And I have to say, this was one of the most beautiful aspects of last year's conference, in my view. And we have a little video where she talks about this, this experience. And I want to show this to you and then discuss a little bit. So please, Nikolai, roll the video for us.
We've been told that we need to socially distance throughout this COVID period, but actually the technical term would be to physically distance. Socially distancing is absolutely not what we should be doing. We need our social connections more than ever. And even when you have physical distance, you can still have that social connection. It's not necessarily that one is linked to the other. And we really proved that in the virtual table, where we were obviously physically distanced. Everyone was sitting in a different room around the world, actually, but we were very much socially connected at the virtual dinner.
Yeah, that's right. Do you guys remember the experience of the virtual table? How was that for you?
It was fun. Eating with people you don't know and seeing their kitchen and their living room, but feeling so connected or feeling so so private with them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it was one of the first of those events, because
yes,
it was
for me as
very
well.
in the beginning of COVID, like day 10 of the pandemic, of the official pandemic. And yeah, it was quite fascinating to see them, also to see how educated they are, because there were little children from the European countries, all very capable of speaking English. I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, it's a very educated bunch, the people who attend the conference. Yeah.
And you can be too.
Well, you see the door in the background. I'm just waiting for one of my daughters to come in and cook up a ruckus. You know, one of the things that I found really amazing was that Kim integrated little performances of music, of poetry, and that worked so beautifully. Even though we were really, you know, doing this on a Zoom call, essentially, right? But the sound quality of the music for this experience was really not an issue, and I felt that was really special. That, you know, there's this moment where people who are strangers can connect over a dinner, over a network, and to me that was really new, because I don't think that this would have been possible before this enormous lockdown crisis. But I'm not sure about that. I wonder what your thoughts are.
I think it increased the chance to do it. So 10 years ago, not so many people had the technical stuff to do it. But also, I think this year, when you, for example, when you see all of us, we all have perfect picture. We have cameras attached to it. We have it's very sharp. Our faces can be seen very clearly. I think the video quality also increased in this year, and I'm quite curious. Yeah, what it will look like compared to last year. Maybe we can have a picture on the one side, Walter Verso last year and this year, compare them. I think we not just increased maybe mentally, but also on the technical side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we have, for today's stream, we have also a few guests, and I want to, first of all, thank them for being super spontaneous, because we approached them today in the morning, essentially, whether they would be free tonight, today in the afternoon, to do this experiment with us. That's one thing. The other thing is they were part of our community for many years now already, and I'm really excited to have them in this show. I want to go first with Julia Kaiser, and we can bring her on stage, please. Julia, welcome on stage here with us. How are you doing?
Sorry. So here it is. I'm very happy, and I've literally come off a train from Frankfurt, and you know, there was quite some snow during the last days, so I was stranded there for 2 days. And I've just come home, and on the way, I got your message if I would want to join into this conversation. And I thought, yes, speaking about music communities in these days is absolutely something I'm really fond of. So here I am. Thank you for having me.
So in the flockdown.
In the flockdown, yeah, it's a funny word, but it doesn't quite describe, because if you're stranded there, standing with 200 people in the row to get your hotel receipt, it's not very funny anymore. And I was lucky because I was staying with friends who were hosting me for 2 days, and it was in the end even turned out as a little extra vacation. So that was nice.
So do you prefer then now to go to online events so that you don't have the hassle of driving around?
Not at all. I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons for everything. I would never prefer online music experience before the live event, because there's nothing such. But for workshops, for conferences, it's really worthwhile to sit in your own room, have all your things you want to share right on you and with you, and not dashing through this world to find, okay, I'm late, I'm confused, I'm tired, I'm jet lagged, whatever. So that saves us a lot.
Mm-hmm. Julia, when we worked together for the last edition of the Karajan Music Tech Conference, you had planned a really, really interesting project with young students who were to, learn what it takes to be a journalist, a reporter. You call it junge Reporter, and then this whole COVID-19 thing crossed the plan, and you immediately had to move the whole experience online. Can you share a little bit about this process and how that affected your community of young students that you worked with during the last conference?
I have to say it was a real benefit for the whole project. I was not sure, because usually getting connected to a team means you have to meet them in person. You have to convince them, okay, I can be somebody who might be helpful for you and your work or your thoughts or wherever you want to go to. So I need this physical connection, or this at least to be in one room. And then it was not possible anymore. And I decided, why not come along with all the others who say, okay, let's do it online. And in fact, I had so many interesting people who said, okay, otherwise I would never have had the chance to come to Salzburg from Dublin, from Oslo, from even some cities in Germany, because they thought, okay, I'm just a university student, so I have to buy the flight, I have to stay overnight, and all this is a lot of money. And so they could join online, and they were really happy. And we could just do the same thing. And I must say, this initiative of young reporters, I have this in several festivals. And since, COVID-19 never stopped since a year. And so I tried out several editions of this project, and it even got better because people wouldn't have to travel, wouldn't have to come to the physical place, and could rather do all this along their other school work or university work. So that was quite good. What I do is I want to interest people in writing, into camera work, into radio work, and into proper interviewing, writing reviews about music, and also to find out new topics they've never known before, but then to dig deeper into a new field and then tell everybody else about it. That's basically what a journalist does. And it's really good to have young people do that who've never tried, because they dare everything. They ask the most important questions, which all of our colleagues who've worked as journalists for a long time simply forgot, because they seem so simple. But that's really what my project is about, and it joins very nicely along with the Karajan Music Tech Conference, because here is really the platform where everybody shows something all the others have never heard about. Say, wow, why didn't I think of that? And tell me more. It's so exciting. So just join in with young people. It's really fantastic.
And Julia, go ahead, please.
No, I just thought, because you mentioned the thing that people were happy from Dublin and all over the place that they can join. And I think that's also kind of the spirit of Herbert von Karajan, because many people complained against his recordings. And he said that at least, of course, it's not the same situation when you're in the concert, but at least some more people are able to listen to the concert, and here as well, some more people are able to join.
Yeah, again, I would like to say that music-wise, it's we're talking about something else, and I'm sure we will discuss this later on with the other guests, because music is like one thing. Being in the room with the music is something completely else. But meeting people and exchanging ideas, and yes, socially stay together and socially connect, that's something that's easily possible in this digital world. Besides, what Kim Arazi just said, it's completely true. And I like this virtual dinner idea a lot. So whenever I do young reporters projects, I'm sure to have a feast in the end, a meet up at Zoom or wherever we do it, so everybody can dress up and look nicely, because it's for the final photograph of the team, and then have their favorite drinks, which is mostly cola and orange juice. But then really say, okay, a cheers to the festival we just had together, a cheers to the group and to the connecting platform. And in fact, what comes out of each of these projects is always a team or a group or a social group that says, okay, let's connect elsewhere after on. They've never met physically, but they say, okay, we are now a team. We shared ideas, we shared concerns about what we might have done wrong. We discussed issues in how to ask or how to find new ideas or how to find to our texts. So this makes us a family. Let's join as this and share our interest further on.
I want to bring in Thomas a little bit, who is a specialist in actually bringing a physical live experience of a conference into the digital world. Thomas is a master virtuoso of Twitter and other platforms. And Thomas, what has changed for you in these last couple of months? Now you're talking about digital concerts and digital experiences. Has that changed your approach to doing your work and what you do?
Not completely, because I was always an online nerd and doing things online. But what has changed for sure is that you're now working on with remote teams, and that you're working for conferences from different places. But I, for myself, just as Julia Kaiser said, I'm also a person that likes offline connections. So when I was working for another conference in December, I was actually taking a train to Cologne just to be there in a hotel in a completely different city than the conference took place, just to have this shift. So I like being at places. I need this mind shift, and I need the shift of places. So,
Interesting.
I'm not just only online. I somehow need to be somewhere. It's like when you listen to podcasts, I always attach the picture in my mind to the things I'm hearing. And I know, okay, when I was listening to this episode, I was next to this bakery or things like that. So what has changed is actually people now work together better online. So when they're using tools, now people know how to use tools. And even family members of my elder family, peoples of my family, they now join in video calls. So I think we geared up technically, and we kind of grew together.
Yeah, that's
I met more people last year because of the online thing than the year before. But I haven't seen them offline. Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, in part probably because at the events you're always glued to your screen, so you don't meet people while you're there.
That's right. I'm sometimes hyperactive and doing 100 tweets an hour without filtering them, and then we have to delete them.
I want to ask Julia, because she has been involved in a couple of initiatives besides the Karajan Music Tech Conference recently, where she could observe, a little bit community building in these sort of post-COVID-19 times. Julia, which example does stick out in your view? What have you seen that is exciting to share here with the viewers?
I've just come off the Eclat Festival in Stuttgart, which is a festival for new music, and they also decided, or basically were forced to decide to do everything online, but not only a streaming thing, but they wanted to include the audience as well. So there is what I learned during this the last days or during the last week was there is this meet the artist after the concert in a Zoom meeting, which works fine because it's with a moderator. Then there is, but what else could be there? And I think this is what we should search for. Surely the first thing is to simply put a comments function into the after the concert, and that's that can be really annoying for people who are used to it, but at the same time it embraces people who are not used to comment on live events, to comment on streams. So there were like two fractions. One part said, okay, but you can't disturb the last note. We're in the music. Where there come the first hearts and wow and super and you did it, you made it. We love you. Which can be really, because you're still focused on the music. That can be really hard. But at the same time, people who do this for the first time, they have a chance to be part of this. And I think this is what Thomas said already. A lot of new people are coming into this community world, and we have to accept that there are many stages of joining this. Some do things for the first time, and we all did something for the first time, but maybe it's longer ago and we're used to this now. But we have to accept there are people who are new to it and have to embrace, okay, they're getting into this and they love it like we did when we did it for the first time. So that was one thing I observed. And also, again, this need actually to to focus on things. Again, I was working with the university students at that festival, and we had a team of young reporters who were all not in Stuttgart. They were somewhere else, all over the place, and some I hadn't met before, but we all joined in as one team. And some said, okay, when I'm listening to, we did several tryouts, experiments, and like one was to listen to the concert, and while you're there, write what you hear and write what you think about, and let your mind wander. And one beautiful text came out of this, which was, I'm now realizing how my energy lowered so much while I'm in my student room, in my student residence, in my one room apartment, doing my Zoom things with my university, but my creativity, my wanting to live and to exercise, that completely got lost. And now I have a focus, I have a new idea, I can write about something. My creativity is wanted now. And suddenly I feel, oh, I want to go out, I feel energy, I want to do more. So this is one thing we can make use of for ourselves, not only go and do some online gym thing or yoga, but rather, okay, find a focus, find work to do, like mental work, train your creativity. And this is what helps if we ask that from each other.
You know, I started thinking about the topic of this conference a while ago, and I started out with the idea to focus on music festivals, right? Because festivals come to mind now with big question marks, right? How can they happen? How will a festival survive? How will a festival have to be different? But then I realized, we should actually talk about this sense of being together, because that is crucial. And one thing that I found out in talking to others was that, and reflecting on my own behavior, like I, as Matthias in the real world, I want one thing, or these things, and then the online avatar of Matthias may want to have completely different things. And this sort of difference between what a real person wants in real life and what that same person wants when they are looking for an experience online, I think this divide is not something that we think about when we talk about experiences of music and communities of music online yet. I think some of the more successful ones are doing that, but you point to this situation where you have a chat box next to a concert, right? And how some people find it appalling to use that, and others are jumping on it right away because, their online ego wants something else. They want to connect to people while they sort of listen with one ear to the music, and it is okay for them to do that, even though they may be the biggest music nerds in real life and would never disturb a real concert that way. But I think this is something that we need to get comfortable with.
But I would disagree in some point.
Good.
because it's a festival. The situation I was just talking about, it was a festival of world premieres, and the live streaming of the orchestras or of the chamber groups or so, there was really something that was that the people were deeply involved. So when I start writing into my box and lose the focus on that, I don't pay respect anymore, or I'm stealing this respect from the live event. So that's kind of complicated. And what you said before between the real Matthias and the avatar Matthias, I think there's even 3 Matthiases in this whole show, because there's one Matthias who is you, your personal you, and there is the Matthias who's on the conference and joining interesting conversations. But there's also the moderator and manager Matthias who is responsible responsible for the whole thing. So that it's even, and to make sure, I think that's even when it's physically happening, it's not so much a matter of a digital world, but you have to make sure that you don't write in three different roles when you are commenting on different checkboxes, say.
But I want to ask Julia, the other Julia. I want to ask the other Julia, who's a singer and a performer. You said earlier that, you know, to you it's almost like a disrespecting if you're not giving your full attention. Now I want to hear from the performer. How do you feel about that, Julia? Do you want your audience to be quiet and fully focused, or are you looking, or do you also enjoy when they give you a feedback on that they like it and that there's some kind of, you know, I don't know, bravo screams in the middle of the aria or something like this? How do you feel about that? You're muted.
I think you actually can't compare it to a physical stage concert or to a virtual concert and streaming, because when you're on the stage, you try to get the people, to try to give the energy to the people, or to try to get the attention from the people, and to interact. And in online, you don't see the audience, so you try to to connect with the camera. So and personal me, I don't look on the comments or on the hearts, or I don't know, or on the this ones, or I don't know. So because I focus only on my music, and that's makes it even harder or even difficult to perform virtual. Mm-hmm. Because then you don't have the energy, you don't feel the physical energies.
That's right. You don't feel the people who are out there watching, right? And
you don't get the attention maybe, and I think that's important.
Yeah, this is an interesting topic, and I think this is something that we will also be discussing from a technology standpoint at the conference, right? How can we actually create these physical experiences, online experiences, where you have feedback that gives you a sense of how is what I'm doing received, right? Right now we see that, you know, X people are watching and we have a couple of thumb ups. There are a few comments. And by the way, we can see your comments, guys. If you write a comment somewhere on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch, it will get through to us. And if you have questions, you can ask those. You know, theoretically, we can even put you on this show if you like. So please fire away. But in general, we don't know how you like what we do. We don't hear your breathe, you know, we don't have the vibes of the room, and this is very important for anyone who performs. Yeah. So Julia, would you say that the Eclat Festival online was then a success, or would you say, well, it was a nice day?
No, it was absolutely a huge success because it was possible, and a lot of work or a lot of music had been written actually for this occasion. So it was world premiere after world premiere. And of course, I met like backstage. I was allowed because I was part of the team. And I agree what Thomas said. It's really better if you connect to, if you work on a festival, it's way better to be there physically. And even though most of the time I spent in the hotel room across the street, from time to time I went backstage and met artists and arranged interviews and put them in front of my Zoom camera. And so so that was like a mix of meeting and not meeting people. But of course I met a lot of people who said, okay, even though it is just streamed, but we are together with other musicians in one room, and even if it's just the camera person or the tone guy who's recording and streaming me, he's a physical body in the room, and I can speak or sing or play to him, and that's what Julia means.
Julia, thank you so much for joining us. It was really wonderful to have you here. I want to now switch to our second guest, who is bye-bye, Julia.
Thank you.
See you soon. I'd like to announce our next guest, who is currently, I think, somewhere backstage. And I hope that the connection works. It's Billy Andrews, aka the Dark Tenor, an artist who is really very versatile in both the physical but also the online worlds. Welcome, Billy, on the show.
Well, Billy is frozen in the moment.
I think
so
let's watch the
flattering.
video. Let's watch the video he did.
Yeah,
The
that's a
flash
great
mob.
idea. Do you want to introduce it, Julia, please?
Yeah, I mean he does a lot of flash mobs, and this one was in a corner. And yeah, just see it, and then we will talk about it.
Freude schöner Götter, Funken, Tochterhaus, Elysium. Wir betreten Feuer, trunken, himmlische dein Heiligtum. Deine Zauber winden wieder, was die Mode streng getrennt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt. Freude schöner Götter, Funken, Tochter aus Elysium. Wir betreten Feuer, trunken, himmlische dein Heiligtum. Deine Zauber winden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt. Freunde werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt. Freude schöner Götter, Funken, Tochter aus Elysium. Wir betreten Feuer, Funken, himmlische dein Heiligtum. Deine Zauber winden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel
Good music never gets old.
Good music never gets old. That's right. Great. Well, there he is, Billy. Welcome on stage.
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Good, good.
We're fine.
So, Billy, tell us a little bit about what we just saw. This was obviously a shopping mall, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was pre-corona times. I've been asked in the past because this video has got, I think, something close to 6 million views on Facebook now. And I've been asked, where are your masks and where's all that distance and all that? So this was in October 2019 when I released my first ever live album. And I did this flash mob to, bring classical music to the masses. And where could masses be on a weekend? Probably the mall, right? So that's where we took classical music.
And it was the Beethoven year.
And it was a Beethoven year, almost, yeah.
You were on the right time at the right spot, because if you had done it in the actual Beethoven year last year, it would not have been happening. So good, the perfect timing.
Yeah, man, we were super lucky to first of all have so many people join in, and second of all not have mall security tackle us and make us stop. There were serious things going on in Alexa, which is in the middle of downtown Berlin, and after we did it, the head of the mall walked up to me and he was like, "You really should have told us before you did this, because we had all our security staff was ready to take you down, man, and everyone walked with you." And I was like, oh, thank you. Well, it's super nice you didn't. So yeah, we had a ball that day, man.
But maybe they were frightened of you because of the black clothing and so. And so you're basically connecting traditional songs, classical music, and what would you call it? Goth music or pop music? How would you describe your style, and why did you decide to combine these worlds?
well, I come from the classical world. I sang the Dresdner Kreuzchor, which is a boys' choir. I did that for 8 years, sang all of the relevant classical pieces from Mozart to the Weihnachtsoratorium every year, obviously up and down, over to, all of the Bach motetten that he wrote, basically. I know him inside and out, basically. And after that, I went into the Semperoper, which is also in Dresden, and did 2 years of choir singing. At some point, I kind of, could I say I got bored? I didn't get bored by classical music per se, but I kind of got bored of the way it was being presented and the innovation that it didn't have, in a sense of attracting new people, younger people, and people that don't know anything about classical music to the classical world, right? So that's why I started writing my own songs. And in 2012, I started developing this project I'm doing called The Dark Tenor, which is classically a classical trained tenor who can strike down his electric guitar on Ode to Joy from Beethoven and, going bam, 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 that kind of stuff. And feature, a traditional rock band on stage and still sing great classical pieces. I just started on a rendition of Nessun Dorma, which is, as any tenor has to, who thinks he's a tenor would have to do that piece at some point. So I got to work on that one, and yeah, man. But I'm somewhere between rock and roll. I love Bon Jovi. I love Aerosmith. I love Queen.
It's your life, yeah.
I'm somewhere between that and classical music. So it's original classical tunes, and then I'll compose a verse or chorus and have like the melody of the classical piece flow into my music, creating a new sound. And what I want to do is show everyone how cool classical music is, that Beethoven, Bach, and Mozart were the heavy metalers, punkers, and rockers of their own times. So
what I find interesting when in that video, but also in other things that you do, you actually, we had you in one of our previous shows for the Karajan Music Tech, and we were all singing together with you and live streaming that to your Facebook page. You do a lot where your fans actually sing along with you, and that is creating a very strong community in that moment, right? I wonder, is it possible to do that also? And do you know of any examples where that is done in a classical music concert where people sing along? I mean, I can maybe think of this moment at the Night of the Proms in Britain, where they all sing along. But and of course the clapping at the end of the New Year's concert. But how is that, Julia, for instance? Have you ever come across a situation where someone sings along the aria while you're singing it on stage?
I mean, all the singing teachers are miming the aria you're singing on stage, but in the audience, no. But in the audience, no. Maybe they do, but I didn't hear it.
Well, let me also ask the question the other way around. Billy, could you imagine a situation where you go on stage and say, like, tonight, please don't sing, please listen to everything I do very carefully, and then clap only in the end?
You know what? Actually, it's with the whole Corona situation. Last year, I did play picnic concerts where everyone would bring their picnic blanket, and we'd have like 200 people that could attend, and they weren't allowed to sing. So I had to tell everyone, please do not sing "Ode to Joy" with me. Please do not sing. Don't do it. And that was really strange. On the other hand, I remember doing Va Pensiero, singing that in the opera, and I did see people in the audience not sing along with their full chest voice going belting over the people, but you do see people going Va Pensiero, that kind of stuff. So which is probably the Italian hymn for everyone to sing. So there's, I believe there's some classical stuff in the opera where people will sing for themselves or quietly or be happy because there's stuff going on they really know by heart. But yeah, I'd love to see that in operas, man. I'd love to.
Yeah,
Billy,
Thomas, please.
Billy, to me, you are like an embodiment. I hope it's the right word for the Karajan Music Tech Conference, because you're both an entrepreneur, a label chef, so to say, a label boss, a singer, someone who is doing the technology stuff. How are you developing all those things? Because you're also running ads on Facebook, and the ads manager, you're like nerding into these things. How has this developed? I think Rolando Villason would not sit there and do his own Facebook ads. So how has this changed from being just a singer to being like a multi-talented entrepreneur?
Well, you know what? I think there's, I've always been curious about everything. Always. Ask my mom. It was my mom's birthday, and she told me, you know what? You started singing when you were 3, and it really made me scream, because I used to sing she used to practice violin, and I used to sing with her, and I can't tell her this, but she fucking hated me for that, probably as a child, right? So,
no, she didn't.
Well, yeah. She put me into the choir back then. That's why she wanted to kind of get me into, just go there, stay away for 4 hours so I can do my thing. But I think being curious about all kinds of things has always driven me forward, and tech. And I mean, the pandemic has shown all of us that tech is a part of music, and it's not going away. It's going to be intensified even more. And the same interest I have in music, bringing contemporary pop music and rock music structures together with classical music. I'm also very interested in 3D printing, which when I visited the Karajan Music Tech in 2019, I got into looking at a ukulele that was printed in 3D, and I was like, what the hell is this? How? Yeah, Ricardo, right? How? Why? And I struck it, and I was going, wow, this is fun. So so now I have a 3D printed LED glowing violin at home that I wanted to go on tour, which I'm obviously not right now. But yeah, I think I've always been interested in that stuff, and I've always tried to amaze myself by new stuff and take at least 2 hours per day to learn something brand new.
That's cool. One of the things that I wanted to ask you is, when you look at the past year and all the changes we went through, do you have a sense that your connection with your community, with your fan, has that changed in some way? Is that different from what it used to be before? And if so, how? Like, how do you see that? Or is it the same? It could be the same, right?
No, man, it has intensified by 5 gazillion %. It's really because everyone is so far away. Everyone's even closer on social media right now, and that has really led to me wanting to connect with my fans through a shorter way than seeing my fans at live shows or in a meet and greet or whatever, right? So connecting to my fans and with my fans and the fans with, within each other, that has become a quick and beautiful direct response system that I can just go, hey, would you guys like to hear this or that song on the live show? Would you guys like to have this as a merchandise? And fans will just go snap, 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 snap. And I think it's beautiful how far apart we are and how interconnected we are on the other hand. It's amazing, man. I've connected with more fans throughout the last year than I would have ever on a long tour.
But I think what also crystallizes now from the pandemic, that from the last, let's say, 50 years or so, that less people are producing or playing music together in their family at home, because they are all more on the telephone or more listening to music, but the community in the house playing music together are so gone. And I think that crystallizes now out that nobody is doing it anymore. Because now you're at home and you see it.
Yeah, there's this family down in the Erdgeschoss, in the lower level in my house, and this is a family of 2 kids and their parents that play in an orchestra. So they would play music for everyone from their terrace every evening at 7 p.m. And when the first part of the pandemic, the first wave came in, they did that on a regular basis. They were like every evening they would do it. And it was so beautiful to, even if it was cold outside, you go outside just to listen to them, and people would clap and they go back inside, and they'd have more tracks to play the next day. So it would be, different music every time. And they completely stopped doing it. And it's super sad to hear that those kind of things are happening. On the other hand, my mom I think she's happy not to have to play violin. She's 62 now, and she's ready to retire. So that's the other side of it. They're happy not to have the Dienst nach Vorschrift thing going on. But it's sad to hear that people have stopped doing that. And that is also something that I see in my personal life. I'm on the phone way more than I'm creating music. And I've created a lot of music last year, so that's fine with me. But now with transforming the Dark Tenor to a digital hub for everyone who loves classical music or hasn't gotten into classical music but is interested, that's the process I'm in right now. So I'm on the phone and I try and start at 6 o'clock in the morning, just so I can't go on the phone, but people start calling me at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's super crazy. There's just no getting around it. And so I'm super happy to do my next concert this Sunday for Valentine's Day. I'm just super happy not to think about conversion rates and Shopify systems, and I'm super I love all of that stuff, but I'm super happy to get back on stage.
And Billy, how have you set this thing up? Is it done from your home, or have you ordered a studio in Berlin?
To do what?
To do the live stream on Halloween.
Oh. That's another good one too.
The other Halloween.
where you see the spooky people around you Valentine's Day.
I see. I'll be an angel. I'll go like I'll be like a creepy angel for Halloween.
No, but where do you produce this?
This time we're gonna. It's a different location every time. So the last one we did was it was a Christmas special. We did that in the Schloss Albrechtsberg in Dresden, which was beautiful. And this one's going to be supported by Volkswagen. It's going to be in the middle of downtown Berlin it's called the Drive Forum, which is a forum of the Volkswagen Group for electrifying cars. And it's going to be super cool because I'm really all about putting on a great show. And in times of pandemic, it's really difficult to put on a big show with lights and all of that stuff going on. So I'm super happy Volkswagen is supporting this and making classical music accessible for everyone out there. So we're going to live stream on the 14th of February on Facebook, on my YouTube channel, on my Twitch channel, which is brand new, obviously something you got to do. And I think Volkswagen Group Culture is also going to stream it. So
that's awesome.
We're going to do that, and it's going to be a fancy production, man. It's going to be
Yeah.
fun.
Looking forward.
Real Volkswagen style. We love those. They're also partner of this conference, so we are really, happy to have them on board, because they are not, the typical kind of corporate sponsor, but they actually get involved. And you mentioned earlier the 3D printed ukulele, and a part of the research that went into doing, this was done in collaboration with Volkswagen and their 3D printing department. So that's a really cool thing. Since you mentioned Twitch, I want to go back to that for a second, because what Julia said earlier was this reference to house music, right? That the family plays at home, amateur music making, it's part of the daily culture. Like I always and I also think that this is happening less and less. I look at my own family. Both my wife and I were professional musicians. Our kids, one of them is really too young, but they play instruments and they sing. But we don't do house music. But what I realized, was that in its place, what you see is, for instance, stuff that is happening on platforms like SoundCloud, where people produce music. They are amateurs. They are not professional musicians. They don't do that for a living. They create their tracks with their Ableton Live software and whatever, and then they upload that, and others give comments and feedback, and then they do something else, and there's a back and forth. And then on Twitch, that's taking this one step further. You can find channels where people produce music, they stream that live, and they take input from their fans, giving comments or joining them in the live stream. It is phenomenal. So there is this new kind of collaborative music making that knows no boundaries. Like, it doesn't have to be in your family. It's actually a worldwide global thing, and I think that is really cool.
Yeah, it really takes it to the next level, man. I mean, there's what's his name, the producer of Linkin Park, Mike Shindoa, I think. And he does that. He goes live. I get a pop-up message every day. He goes live and he produces tracks of his followers. He has his followers send him tracks, and he goes, if you get lucky, I'll just go ahead and produce it online while everyone's watching. So that's, by the way, something that I miss in the German and Austrian and Swiss culture, is that artists help each other more, and they're so afraid of featuring themselves. They're so afraid. That's what I see on my level in the whole pop hemisphere. They're so afraid to feature other artists on their social media, which is insane, because every artist these days is a TV channel. That's what you are. Essentially, for your followers, you're a TV channel. And I'd love to see more big artists feature or discover other artists that they're excited about and feature them on their channels. I think that would really up the culture of people getting to see and hear music they've never seen or never heard before.
Yeah, I mean.
Sorry, that was a rant.
Go ahead, Julia. Sorry.
No, I think that's also the topic we have this year in the Music Tech, featuring ourselves together. And you also can sign up every day, and then we can featuring us together.
Yeah, exactly. This is an open platform, right? And we want to make that clear to everyone who's watching and will be watching these videos. We want to open this platform up for you, for your ideas, for what you do to create amazing communities for music online, but also offline, of course, and how you bridge that. And for us, this whole process of building the conference was a community-driven effort, because we started out with one panel a couple of years ago, and then people called up, said like, hey, we could also do this and that, and we just said, let's do it, let's add all of that. Then we had a conference. Now we'll have a full week of program, and actually we are starting now to produce content for that week in March. And ideally, I think this keeps on going throughout the year, because what we ultimately want to achieve with this is that people who are visionaries in music and technology can find their support group, their brain trust. They can, create the things that they dream up, and we want to be, the platform that enables that for them. So it's really. Thomas,
Matthias,
please.
sorry, I didn't want to end you, but I just wanted to mention that it's not just the chance to be there in the conference week or today, but 5 times more. Because this thing we're doing today is now a regular thing, at least until the conference starts. Each Tuesday, 5 p.m. European time, and this would be 9 hours earlier on the West Coast. So 8 in the morning on the West Coast. Join us in for this.
Yeah, we have a few early risers, like Jeff Burton is sending comments on YouTube. He is from the West Coast. There he is. Jeff, it's such a pleasure to have you there on YouTube doing the live comments. So we, what are you writing there, man? I love the idea of having someone take a simple musical submission during the music tech and have a producer walk everyone through how she would create a good recording for it. That is a great idea. And we can do that, definitely.
Yeah, we could ask the YouTuber Marty Fisher, for example, or someone who is doing, there are YouTubers who are doing music productions in 6 minutes, and we could try doing something like that.
Yeah, that would be fun. And Billy, would you be up to sing the lead vocals on the new song then?
Oh, wait a second. Here we go. Yeah, man, sure. Let's do it.
Awesome.
I'll sing anything as long as it's great stuff. I'm always up for singing.
Yeah,
no doubt about that.
We have to give credit to, I think, Deadmau5, who started this whole thing by starting to stream his compositional process on YouTube. This is like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something like this. And he actually produced one of his top songs this way. And then he asked people on his Twitter feed to send vocal lines, because he's not a singer. And someone gave him a really great vocal line, and he used it in a song. And you could listen to that. This is the way it was published. And I thought, when I saw that, wow, that is really the new shit. Yeah.
So that's something that's really interesting, because artists like Deadmau5, and I'm seeing a lot of other artists popping up right now that work in a way that is more holistic, and they integrate their following. They use the creative process to generate following and attention for the song that they're going to release. That is so smart, and that is so punk versus music industry. I love it.
Yes, yeah, it's guerrilla marketing.
It's great. Yeah, it's a world and a brand new light of speed forward. And there are so many artists that are embracing that change, and I can only encourage everyone to go that way, because this is the last 10 years have been the golden age of the recorded music industry and the majors. The next 10 years are going to be the golden age of the artists. I'm telling you, it's going to be awesome for the creatives. Yes.
And this is exactly what we want to see at the Kaya Music Tech Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a really, really interesting hour for me. I hope also for you as well. And I want to thank everyone who was involved, in particular our guests, Billy Andrews and Julia Kaiser, but also, of course, my great team, Julia Bienek and Thomas Richter, and Nikolai Böhlefeld, who you don't see, but he is, pulling all the strings in the background. So thank you,
He's the master backstage.
He's the master of backstage. Guys, we will be doing these every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Actually, I'm liking it so much, we'll probably throw in a few extras here and there. We're taking up Jeff's ideas from the chat, and we're going to see all of you. Please go to karajanmusictech.com. Sign up for free for our conference, get all of the information, join our Slack channel, our Telegram, be in touch with us. We're all looking forward to hearing from you. And with that, I want to say bye-bye. Have a great evening, everyone, or rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.